Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfield show, the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And today, my good friend Bryan Rawls is back with us, and we're talking about embracing the dark angel of self, the shadow aspect. So part of what we're going to talk about today is how to embrace the dark angel within and manifest your true power. We're going to talk about how to appropriately honor your ancestors and how to make an ancestral altar. We're also going to receive 2 short live activations from Bryan and his team, Reigniting Your Flame Activation and Activation of Ancestral Healing. All that and so much more. Of course, we're going to take live caller questions. You can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat. And for those of you who don't know Bryan, he's been with us many times before. So glad he's back with us. He's very talented, very gifted. And Bryan has been working with spirit as a medium, channel, healer, you name it, for a long, long time. And tarot reader as well. So he's an intuitive medium, a psychic, a healer, light language facilitator, Reiki master, etc. So much, right? And so he devotes himself to helping people find purpose in their life, providing guidance, as well as providing closure and comfort to those who have had souls dear to them pass beyond the veil without the opportunity to say goodbye. He can channel many energies to help you with your questions, from spirit guides, angels, archangels, fairies, elementals, gods and goddesses, celestial beings, and other galactic energies. So much. And so we're going to, talk about so much today, but he is available for so much more than just what we're going to share today on today's show. So with all that being said, Bryan, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the show.
Hello, Alara, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure being here with you.
Absolutely. So, Bryan, today we are talking about embracing the dark angel of self, the dark angel within, the shadow self. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So basically, the shadow aspect it was popularized by a Swiss psychiatrist named Carl Jung. Mm-hmm. And basically, everybody has a shadow aspect. All right, everybody has a dark side, basically, and a lot of the shadow aspect gets repressed at a very young age. So that is where shadow work and inner child work begins to start manifesting and begins to start showing itself in life. So once basically this is basically a side of self that our elders basically have taught us to basically shun away, okay? Mm-hmm. Because it's known to manifest as emotions. It's known to manifest as behaviors, and it's also known to manifest as certain manifestations, such as particular abilities and talents as well, because that's after releasing and after working and bringing back in balance of the shadow self. Basically, that is what is available to you, is your talents, is your spiritual abilities, because this is exactly where they manifest from, is basically the dark, the places inside ourselves that has been cast in shadows for so long, because it's known in many religions that psychic abilities are known as the devil's work, or known as evil's work. So I like to think of the shadow self as you have a good angel, and you have a devil over here, or a little angel and a little devil over here. And yeah, and some folks say it's the good consciousness and the one that eggs you on, or the ego. And how I work specifically with a person's shadow self, or how I have became aware of it, is during first deep work within myself. And that's where basically manifesting the particular manifestations of shadow work comes from, is actually dealing with the shadow self, and those particular blessings are what comes after. So so how I basically deal with them is I first start off by reviewing parts of the childhood. The childhood is very crucial here in shadow work, because that's where everything starts getting repressed. That's where everything starts getting no, you shouldn't do that, or yes, you should do that, or that's good, that's bad, that's right, that's wrong. See, it's the exact. Some folks call this polarization work, because that's exactly what shadow is right, wrong, good, bad. It's the exact opposite of what light would be. It's dark. So when dealing particularly with the shadow self, I like to find the flame first. So that is where my first activation is going to come in at. And it's the flame that exposes the shadow areas. And when we reignite the flame, which we will hear in just a moment. But once we ignite that flame, this basically allows for all of the dark areas within the psyche to become more illuminated, to become more exposed, to become more raw. As that rawness emerges and comes up and begins to manifest, that is where we may begin to cry, may begin to weep, may begin to scream, may begin to yell, may begin to get deep down in our deepest, darkest desires. And some of us like to do this alone. Some of us want to do this in the public. Some of us want to do this in a group. It all depends. It's all personally on preference. All right, and how comfortable you are in exposing the self. And basically, that's what it is the self that really needs to be. It's where you need to be comfortable. It's what you need to be comfortable about, is that self. So what we're going to do is we're going to reignite that flame. So I want everybody to take some deep breaths in. I want everyone to get grounded into Mother Earth. And I normally like to do this by connecting into the heart chakra. And as we connect into the heart chakra, basically, we're going to connect into that life force. And this is what my lovely teacher taught me. And basically, this is a brand new teacher, but I adore her. But we connect into the heart, connect into the life force breath. As we connect into the heart, we move down into the solar plexus, down into the sacral, down into the root, throwing that grounding cord down into Mother Earth, flowing down into the ground, down into the mantle, down into the core, looping around the core, bringing that Mother Earth energy back up through the mantle, through the crust, through your feet, moving that energy back up through your thighs, through your root, through your sacral, through your solar heart, And I want you to take a deep breath in. Inda bokure ne sindoro ora atayano ore mekihende elakata ore estayano ok. Dinde helakata ara atayano ok ut embokuta astayane es. Vine helokudrando okote emukuda anda ayate esite de me ekata urash. Velo kuto urata ata ayane ekis. Runamo kote elakrin ekiastur. Damboho rata kayate iselo kurano. Demba hatayane la kri de loro kutura na ayete imbihite itembur. Bandolo kote la kriyashta inde esisi andra maar. De lo krono mokuto ura atayate ili. Priandawa dayunu uresh. Baro kote ili manaares. And allow that igniting of that flame. Radanu rokutu rotu rata rienekwa. Burakote shiano kubrana akayet. Videm barokote mokura akayet is. Vinde la kriata ayestu. Rokote mokura ana aratai. Veno mokuto uresta inde ekiastu. Pro tembo kukukukuna rata inne. Dembara kaya de estiando ok. Roku tembo ok undawa. Ide la kri et endo rat ut estayano ok undawa. De la kri et endo okuta ra anayate ignin. Rata urosh. Rinde ekiasto. Oh, rata ayane eki. And just allow that flame to illuminate all the shadow aspects, all the shadow self as it ignites and then brings illumination throughout your whole soul. Just allow for that vibration and that energy just to permeate throughout the auric field and into the universe, allowing the shadow aspects and the energy and the current of the shadow aspects to just flow out, to permeate throughout the auric field. Akademiki otu ura an ayite ishkiterme ekuto ura ata ayete isin. And take a deep breath in. And you may feel your heartbeat increase. You may feel it thump. Just allow for yourself to reground back out, calling in the energy of the Pisces constellation to ground you out, integrating this energy and integrating the shadow aspects with the energy of the Ophiuchus constellation. The Ophiuchus constellation is connected to your central nervous system. Allow it to move through the central nervous system, integrating that current, integrating that energy. And deep breath in. And when you are ready, you are now able to open your eyes and just come back naturally. Don't bring yourself swiftly out of it. Just come back naturally. Okay. All right, we're just waiting for just a couple more energies just to come back through. Come back in. All right, perfect. So So I know that made my heartbeat increase dramatically. So basically that is reigniting the flame. That will begin to start illuminating particular areas of the shadow self that you may not have been aware of, or you may not have been particularly comfortable with, or may not have been particularly too fond of. So do pay attention to the thoughts and particularly the conversations that you have with yourself, and also that you have with other people, because remember, the shadow self likes to reflect back at us like a mirror. All right, and a lot of us will find shadow aspects in other people, and they reflect back. And I mean, they like literally ping back, and I mean, like literally will pop you right in the face. And I've had that quite a few times happen in the past couple weeks with all these retrograding planets coming back in direct. But after becoming more aware of the shadow aspects, you have to remember not to shame it. You have to remember not to hide it back in the shadows, because hiding it back in the shadows is something that that will not benefit you, that will not benefit your relationship, will not benefit your current reality, will not benefit the reflection of your reality out into public either. Because remember, we are all everything we are in contact with, and everything that we are not in contact with, we are connected to, regardless of whether you like it or not. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you are connected to it. So that energy deeply reflects what is going on from the inside out. Okay, so as you're going from the inside, remember that everything that you do on the inside reflects also on the outside, and the universe and Mother Earth herself. So we are not just doing our work, we are doing the planet's work too. So it's a win-win situation. So why not do it? All right. After we don't shame it, I would like to specifically look at particular triggers that bring up shadow aspects of myself. All right, and these particular triggers can be people, they can be places, they can be certain situations, they can be certain substances, they can be certain behaviors, they can be certain inanimate objects that bring about memories of a past event, or possibly a present event. Because don't just look in your past for the shadow aspect, also look in your present. Because I have been diving rather deep into my shadow aspect here the past, I would say, 4 weeks. And plant medicine is a good way of doing that. But I'm just dipping my toes in the plant medicine, but that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But the another good way of exploring the shadow is also exploring our ancestors. Okay, and the reasoning for this is because you can also look at the past patterns, behaviors, and situations that your ancestors have been in, or that they have put themselves into. Because remember, some of the things that we put ourselves into, they are already predestined. We already charted them. All right. Now, not everything is set in stone, but there are predestined notches in everything, or in our charts, or in everybody's chart. Okay. But ancestor veneration is where you can begin with ancestral healing. Okay. So ancestral veneration is another one of my favorite subjects. And the reasoning for this is because my practice deals a lot with ancestor veneration because of my lovely grandmother and my spirit confidant, which she has been rather in the shadows lately. So I know what she's doing. But ancestor veneration is honoring our ancestors and remembering them, not worshiping them. Okay, we don't worship our ancestors. Okay, these are not just deceased loved ones. These can come from lineage ancestors, such as like blood ancestors. These can come through as spiritual ancestors. These can come through as teacher ancestors. All right, all of my teachers, I venerate them whether they're living or dead, and the reason for that is because we are God and God is within us, and we are a spark of that divine creation. And if any of my teachers are out there, I don't worship y'all like a dead person, so don't worry. But I do show gratitude to your soul. But that is particularly something that we tend to not quite understand what venerate and worship is. So venerate is, like I said, is remembering and reminiscing and sharing time or spending time with them. And I know a lot of y'all are probably looking at me like I'm crazy, spending time with spirit. Well, I do this on a regular. I do this once in the morning and once at night. How I venerate my ancestors will probably be totally different than how y'all venerate y'all's ancestors. So basically, how I'm gonna give y'all an example of how I do mine. But I'm gonna get me something to drink first. So basically, how I venerate my ancestors is I build an ancestor altar. An ancestor altar it can be as simple as a candlelight, a glass of water, and a picture. Or it can be as elaborate as a whole daggone wall. It all depends on personal preference. But how I like to do it, I have a whole half a wall dedicated to my ancestors. And it's right behind my front door. And I put them in the action because I use my ancestors in my day-to-day practice. And basically, I have a big old wall full of my deceased loved ones' pictures and particular monuments of like when they passed, when they were born, etc., etc. Almost like the pamphlets of during their funeral or their celebration of life. And I also have my family crest and the name of my father's last name and what it means and all that good stuff. My grandmother on my mom's side is a little bit hard to do that, but on my father's side it was rather easy. Then I have two candles, white and black, and the reason why I put white and black up there is because I am basically bringing them balance. Okay, I'm bringing them illumination, but at the same time, I'm bringing them balance. A lot of y'all regular ancestor venerators maybe saying I'm doing it wrong, but if I wanted rules, I'd go to church. Okay, but that's beside the point. But I do it my way because that's how I'm comfortable with. Okay, so do it the way that you see fit. Okay, if it doesn't work for you, don't do it. All right, but do the way that you see fit, and it can start it out by a white candle, a picture of your most favorite ancestor, and a maybe their favorite drink of a glass of water, or a cup of coffee, or a cup of tea. And after that, you grab them their cup of coffee. Then you always mirror image what you have put on that altar onto you. So basically, you would give yourself a cup of coffee as well, because you would want to enjoy it with them. You would want to believe that they are right there in front of you. You wouldn't want to light yourself on fire, so I don't expect you to hold a candle or anything like that. But you are the divine spark within, so that is your illumination. Their illumination is that candle. That's what shows them the way to you. That's what brings them forward. That's what moves them to your current. Okay, so they have their illumination, you have your illumination. As your two illuminations hit, that's where the spark of creation happens, and that's where communication begins. All right, that spark of creation, and it's basically it's similar to access consciousness, the POC, the point of creation. Okay, now you can use POC and POD, very similar in ancestral healing. Okay, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But once communication happens, that's where it is. That's where you want to begin to start cultivating, begin to start moving it in a way of a relationship as if they were back alive. Okay, and my grandmother, my grandfather, and my aunts and my uncles, they're very much alive to me today. And all that has died on them was their physical vessel. And that's what I see is basically has basically moved on or died. Okay, their spirit is very much alive with me here in the physical, guiding, seeing me through, protecting me along my way, along my journey, along my path, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They don't sit there and dive in on your personal vendettas of your conversation. So don't worry, they're not perverts. Okay, so they're ancestors. Okay, now another thing that once the point of creation happens and communication happens, you always want to make sure that once you're finished with the conversation, that you always say goodbye, or that you say your farewells, or that you depart them. All right, you don't want them sitting there looming over your ancestor altar, and them just be over your ancestor altar all day long when they have other stuff to do. Allow them their time. So basically say, All right, Ma, Pa, Aunt, and Uncle, thank you so much for coming to join me. Thank you so much for having this tea with me. I appreciate you. Much love to you. Blessings. Farewell. And then I like to leave the coffee there or the water there. And some folks will leave it from Monday to Monday. Some folks will change it out each day. Some folks, it all depends, whatever tickles your fancy, do it. All right. Then there is another way that you can venerate your ancestors, and a veneration of your ancestors this way is a little bit fun, and a little probably your family will look at you like you're weird and you're insane. But if you live alone, you could probably do it and get away with it. But it's called the Dumb Supper. And you can do it on October 3rd, or you can actually do it any day of October, or you can do it any day within the week of Halloween. All right, depends on whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you all fancy. You do it your way. But I like to at least try to get a week, at least a week before the or at least a week before the veil has thinned all the way, or during the when the veil is thin. And how I basically do this is I give them a place at my dinner table, and I would set it just like I would be setting it for y'all. I would be setting it just like they were getting ready to show up at the door. All right. So you would set it like you would set a normal human being's plate at the dinner table. And some folks will leave it there all night. I like to, after I finish my dinner, I like to take the plate, and I'm extra, so I go to the graveyard and take it to the graveyard. But some folks will set it outside on their front porch step or their side porch. And I'm really extra, so I take a bunch of clients' apples on Halloween night and take them to the graveyard in honor of their for blessings for them. But y'all don't have to do that. But that's just what I do. It's a tradition, and these traditions are actually something that my ancestors actually done before. So it's very much ancestral. Okay, so this kind of goes along with the whole next activation, which is basically going to be ancestral, an activation of ancestral healing, which I'll get into that in just a moment. But another practice for ancestor veneration and ancestor quote unquote workings is where you put particular petitions or prayers or write them out on fake money. Okay, I could show you some of this ancestor money, but I don't have any of it handy on me. But it just looks like kind of like Monopoly money. Some of the papers will have the traditional Hell Bank notes. Some of them will have Heaven Bank notes. Some of them will have Angel notes. It all depends on particularly where you get them from. One of the specific things that I like to do. Some folks just place this ancestor money on the ancestor altar. I like to burn it. All right, and the reason why I like to burn it is because in my tradition, burnt offerings actually send the prayers up to the heavens or up to the ethers or up to the spirit world. where they can hear it, where they can receive it, or wherever, whichever ancestor wants to grab a hold of it, they can use it, and then they can actually, they don't necessarily go to like your Kroger and go buy dinner or anything like that. It's more along the lines of they use the energy of it for blessings in the form of what kind of in the form of manna, or of that energy of life force. There you go, life force energy. And once you burn it, some folks say you need to let the ashes go away with the wind. I like to be extra, and I like to go do my ashes over like a bridge, graveyard. I take it to the normal. I take it to normal crossroad areas. And my thought of a crossroad area is not necessarily a railroad track. Okay, my crossroads areas where two lines intersect, where two places intersect. And what I mean by that is like a graveyard. A graveyard is a crossroads because it is the existence of two places. It is the spirit world and it is the living. All right, because you can actually walk in it and then you can actually visit it. All right, because it is hallowed ground. All right. Second off is the ocean or a body of water, because the reflection is a portal into the energies of the spirit world. All right. Use that reflection, use that portal. Very simple. It's just like a mirror. A mirror is used as a portal. I have brought through many spirits through a mirror. I have communicated with many spirits through a mirror. A mirror is what you call a portal. And a lot of traditions say that once a family member passes away, you're supposed to cover your mirrors for 3 days, or you're supposed to cover your mirrors for 9 days. It all depends on your tradition. But that is basically, well, there's there's a handful of beliefs there, but I'm just going to name a few. One, that their soul don't get lost in a mirror dimension, and some folks believe in a mirror dimension, and there is a mirror dimension, but that's a whole nother radio show as well. But then there is, so that they believe is when the soul crosses over, the soul will already enter into the mirror and go into the spirit world. So that is where you throw a black cloth over it so no spirits enter after. Okay, because you don't want negative energies or negative spirits to attach to your ancestor going through the portal. Okay, I wouldn't want that to happen. I know it, not y'all either. So if you look back in folklore, you will find a lot of things. There's a lot of truth there, but there's also a lot of myth there too. Okay, you just have to make sure that you read between the lines. All right, so let's go ahead and do some ancestral healing. Okay. So I want everyone to connect back into their life force energy. And they can just connect back into their heart. And just take deep breaths in. And we're going to move our consciousness back in time to a time, and we're going to visualize ourselves as one of our ancestors. As we visualize ourselves as one of our ancestors, we are going to create a healing cocoon around that energy of that ancestor and be able to step out of that cocoon and allow for that healing to move through the generations as the cocooning process continues for a total of 72 hours. Okay, so do not worry, you will be able to get out of this cocoon, but I want you to visualize yourself as your favorite or your most beloved ancestor. And if you find that hard, just imagine. And take deep breaths in. Ile kiolur ide lokram ide siadur id eskiatar. Rot id ele siatar ok udam bahala kiano ores. Vennu moko urre at ayate estelo kurote enumokut. Rata iste ele kiata awa at ayano ur. Piwa kata ari et ele sia ara at ayano ur. Delokora tosa siatan agrist et epekayet et ayanu. Velo creti hisiatan are et esieto kumokwa. Delo cosite miana chiala rieti electiambo. Protesi hite muka ala piata shiene lakias. Lo pialo coreanawa atayete elesisiati la care estelo ko ura at una. Ito ores, may dando ori itambaka it eleka ara okutuut. Dende helaka at ada it istok ulek yalabaala. Dela ride dano ureta amakata araki it istiando ure. Ide dog ure emahata ala piata ala kupreata iste inumakutu uta awa ata kiena at. Dela krean o rat ayat elak push ar it istemene. Prot uk dar it ud dela kreat dela ut ure estauro katem. Denno hoko dela stisia maat. Jela krit elostulo kut ure et manaid. Dele site memekid. Jok rot ud emma dela pias. Deat hema kia lakure etu kuuda voko ut elakis. Vinda hastok yamokono. Elako. Dela kiut. Deot. Estesia qua da ist ureit imma akata ar. Dela kiato restua. Dande este ik amba oka ata arid edumdur imnawa. Ela ore tamakia. Istau sistembo danya. Ela reundo okut. Dende et yasto ureit astinde et it. At ayani. Edo kutastende et yes. Idendo urine kiasto kukama aretele sihitukun. Ila krit istok ura at awa da ana ait. Ele stele kiama aura. Ine kiala ko uri it amaapa. Istele stis. Gonde wada awa at ayete it. Vide kiandolo ure it amwa. Il kindo urrast. Ela rat awa. Bamba ok un. Id elakri ar at aist. And deep breath in, allowing that energy break from that cocoon. As that energy breaks from that cocoon, allowing that consciousness of that elder, of that ancestor, to continue receiving that ancestral healing as you move back into your space. As you move back into your space, we're going to ground you out with the Pisces constellation, 5 miles down, 5 miles out. Eli hituko ako taas, tendo loko ure it amako taas tayit ipeke itukuut. Dila are it istuanawa. Ela pahatu ure it amihiki. And we're going to call in the light of the Ophiuchus constellation to integrate this into your central nervous system. And you may see waves of energy coming off of your auric field. Because remember, this is coming through your generations. All right, so it's going, your auric field has 7 layers. So it is the direct reflection of 700 years of your direct lineage. All right, doesn't just hold your energy field. It also holds your family information. So does your DNA. All right, so does every cell in your body. All right, so that particularly is the ancestral healing and the ancestral. The thing about the ancestral cocooning, like I said, it's going to last for about 72 hours, and as the energy continues to cocoon around that particular ancestor or around that consciousness, you're going to basically feel this radiate through your energy field too, because this is working through your molecular level and your cellular level as well. Now, if you didn't notice, there was a slight differential within the light language, and I just heard the first little bit and then the last little bit. But there was a slight differential within this due to the elementals came in and started to do the cocooning. All right, so I don't know about everyone on this call, but there is elemental consciousness that is definitely present here on the call. There's a lot of different consciousnesses that are present here on the call, and I would love to start to get to work with them. So I believe that is pretty much of the presentation.
I was just going to ask everybody how they're doing, because after this last little activation, I'm like yawning like crazy and I can barely keep my eyes open. Can barely keep my eyes open. Like, oh my God, just like, right?
Yes, the energy is definitely intense and definitely present.
Yeah, definitely. My God. Yeah, so yeah, how are you all doing? What did you perceive? What did you experience during the 2 activations? Because it's definitely, we're processing, it's happening. And what did you say about the ancestral one is going to continue for how many hours? Could you say something about that?
What is that?
Did you say something about how long this ancestral
Oh,
healing
about
is
72 hours.
72
I
hours.
was sorry, I was actually looking at the chat room.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
about 72 hours.
yeah.
Some of them will probably finish around the 70-hour mark. Maybe some folks will finish around the 74-hour mark. But it all depends. It's all within that range, and it should not be that it should not be that taxing on the energy field or the chakras. You will notice the energy and be aware of the energy moving through your atmosphere, but it should not knock you out.
Right. It'll
And
pass. It'll pass
yeah,
slowly
it
but
will
surely.
pass.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, it's probably going to be intensified tomorrow because we have the full moon and it's in Aries, and it's the last little bit of Aries too. So she's a little bit on the crucial side.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. Yes.
Yes, and she's
Intensity. We
also
can handle it.
square Pluto too. So you're in whoever's got Pluto transiting in the chart that's ill aspected is probably going to have some emotional times tomorrow. So
Stay calm, everyone. Drink water.
yes,
And
ground.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you want to take a few questions?
Sure.
All right. So if you have a question for Bryan, you can raise your hand or you can put your question in the chat. So just really quickly, there was an interesting question from Joseph about cats. And he mentioned something about his cat absolutely hates to look into mirrors. Do you have any idea? Because when you were talking about mirrors,
Okay, so particularly about cats. So cats are very very open, very connected to the spirit world. I'm very fond of cats. I have many. But they are what I call my familiar spirits, and they help me. They basically keep me protected. So they are a protector. They protect energy fields. They warn you about things. I always, my grandmother always said, look to the animals. If the animals are acting weird, then something's up. All right. Always look to the animals, and also listen to the crickets. If the crickets sounds, or if the crickets tone or music or song is off, then you know something's going on.
Okay, so why would his cat not like looking into the mirror?
Well, that basically let me see here. So what I see here is that, mirrors being active portals, and that home actually having 2 active portals in it. And what I mean by active portals is these portals are active due to healing work or energy work that is done within it, or energy work that is created there, or that is in creation there. It almost feels to me like, I don't know why I keep on getting this, but it almost feels to me like there is a modality that is sitting underneath his nose. And what I mean by that is that there is a this questioner, there's a healing modality or a spiritual modality that is of ancient or is of another dimension that needs to come here into the present. And it feels to me like it's just right there at the edge of their auric field that they need to bring it in. They need to fully allow it to merge with self. And I believe it has something to do with a fear of power.
Cool. Joseph, how does that resonate with you? Let us know in the chat. So Danny was asking the question about if we don't know our ancestors and just visualize the presence, how does that affect the cocoon?
That affects the cocoon the same way. Same instances. Probably just with a little less intensity, but it still is going to make an effect because you created it.
Awesome. So it's fine if you don't know your ancestors and you just visualize the
Exactly.
presence. Yeah. Awesome. Good. Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Good question. And Annie's asking, she says, one of my cats jumps at our dining room wall at one specific spot. What's going on?
So
I'm assuming that's what you want to know, Annie.
all right. So Annie, what this feels to me like is that that specific spot or that specific doorway, I'm gonna call it a doorway or a gateway, because how I'm seeing it is it's kind of like a door. It's kind of like a door where things cross through. You know how some things can cross through a shadow or cross through a body of water or cross through from a mirror. Energies can definitely cross through what is a created door, and it be created by thought. And I like to call this a quote unquote tulpa. Because it is a thought manifested creation.
Awesome, good. So Annie, let us know how you feel about that. Type it in the chat. All right, Rebecca, you've had your hand raised for a while.
Hi.
What's your question?
My question is, so my good friend Chuck passed away on January 6th this year, and I miss him a lot. And I don't know, I just want to know how he's doing, and like, was it, I mean, it's a silly question, but was it really the right time for him to go? He was only 68.
It was the right time.
Sweetheart, this was a exit point. All right, you chose this exit point because it manifested itself at the correct timing, and particularly that's within his framing of that exit point. All right, so basically what I'm trying to get at here is this particular soul stepping forward in it, and what is being shown to me is that this was definitely in divine timing. He basically knows that that he left and that you basically dearly miss him, but he wants you to release that mourning and that grief, and to take this particular time and this particular understanding of now and move forward, no longer allow for that heaviness of that grief, that mourning to hold you back. That mourning isn't what he wants you to do. He wants you to be free and be able to move past what his life could no longer provide for you. Okay? I know he provided a lot, you provided a lot to him. Y'all provided a lot in mutual reciprocation, but the energy there basically ran its course. It doesn't mean that y'all's relationship is over. Y'all have coffee every morning. Y'all have coffee every morning. And I know he's sitting there patting you on that back.
Right here. I always feel him
Mhm.
right here.
Patting you on that back, saying, sweetheart, don't miss me. I'm right here.
That's what he always tells me. He's like, I go, oh, I miss you so much, Chuck. And he's like, oh, I'm right here.
Mm,
And I tell him, yeah, but it's not the same for me.
I
You know,
understand.
it's different. Like in some ways it's better because I'm connecting with just his pure essence, his pure soul, you know.
So focus
Yeah,
on that.
I understand that the vessel is what a lot of us long and what a lot of us crave back. But understand that that's just the shell that held everything that was good. And in this case, in this show, bad at the same time, all into one. Okay. So take it from someone that deals with spirit on a day-to-day basis. Take it from me, sweetheart. You wouldn't want them back in this hell. This earth right here is is our personal reality of what we make it. Okay. And with the things that are going on the earth at this time, I mean, I personally, and I know it may sound bad in some folks' eyes, but I would not wish my ancestors back for anything back in this world, because this in my eyes is not my cup of tea.
And,
I want to
I would
go
just say
home.
also, Rebecca, just, we do choose when we come and when we go, right? So honor his choice that, yeah, he chose to go. So honor his choice. And by you, there's a grieving process for sure, but, respect his choice, right? And like you said, he's still with you. He's still with you, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I do, and that's why I said it was kind of a silly question, but I guess I just wanted the reassurance.
Yeah, of course.
Reassurance is always good
Yeah.
for quite a few reasons, and reassurance really soothes the heart. So Rebecca, I send all his energy back to you, and I tell you, definitely hold him in your space this Samhain, and basically continue to have your cups of coffee.
Yeah, and be grateful that you still have this connection and communication, with him.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I think
great.
I want to learn mediumship so I can hear it better.
Well, why don't you get a session with Brian, and then you can talk about that with him even more, because he is an amazing medium, and I think he does training and things like that too. But get a session with him. He's amazing. I mean, I've said that from years now, that if you want to get confirmation and information and just stuff, talk to Brian. He will help you. Okay. Yeah, and he'll give you tips, even if you don't take a full-on training, he will give you tips on what to do.
Most definitely.
I'm just saying.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And be gentle with yourself, my dear. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so before we'll take a few more questions in just a minute, but I just want to talk about, because we are at the top of the hour or beyond, and I just want to talk about the special offer packages, Brian, really quickly. Where are you? There you are. So the packages are similar to what we did in July or June or whatever it was, but we've added some stuff to it. So hopefully I did it right. So the package is available at alara.at/show/Bryan10, BRYAN10. So Brian, let's quickly talk about the packages here. Yes, there we go. There's package A, B, and C, right?
Yes.
I still think I messed up, but maybe not.
Okay, so package A, item 1 is the 30-minute intuitive reading with me, and then 2 light language activations. and then a bonus of an Asteroid 13, which is the Jiria, which is a light language activation, and a sigil, which is a special offer for $97. And basically, those particular that particular package is for people that just want to brush real quickly up with some confirmation and some questions. And then the light language activations will intensify your light codes and the downloads that are coming in at on a day-to-day basis, as well as also on a moon or new moon and full moon basis. And then also we'll even activate certain psychic abilities for you, activate particular potential. The Asteroid 13 Ageria light language and activation and sigil. So basically, the sigil is a symbol, and the light language activation is an MP3. You listen to the MP3 during the time that you are staring or gazing at the sigil. And what this does is the Asteroid 13 Ageria basically is a essence of a goddess that will amplify and intensify your psychic abilities, your healing abilities, and your magical abilities. Now, probably are all afraid when I say magical. Don't worry, magical is not a bad word. Magical just means that you are A+ and 100. So package, but the Asteroid 13 Ageria light language activation and sigil is available in all 3 packages. So you can actually get it in all 3 packages. But in package B is item number 1 is a 60-minute intuitive reading with me. And then item number 2 is the 2 light language activations from package A. And then item number 3 is my particular, it is a remembered, it's not a new, it's new to this world, but remembered for me, okay? It's a remembered healing modality that uses numerical codes that get downloaded within the DNA to make changes that go along with the stars and the constellations within our skies. So I am one of the magical practitioners that work specifically with astrological correspondences and prepping oils and prepping incenses according to astrological correspondences. Those particular workings go hand in hand in the Starseed DNA numerical code healing practitioner training. There is a master's training and there is a teacher's training. The teacher's training is actually getting ready to come out in 2022. But this one, this actually has not a set date yet, because I am trying to gather everybody from I believe it was August show, and or earlier than that show, and then also this show. I'm trying to gather as many folks that would like to gain knowledge and gain wisdom of this particular healing modality. So that will be available, and then you get the bonus. That package is $197, and then in package C, which is a value of $700, which for a special offer of $333. So you get a 60-minute reading with me, the 2 light language activations, the Starseed DNA numerical code healing practitioner training, the 7 Pleiades sisters, 7 MP3 recordings, which these are 7 particular star recordings that pertain to each of the 7 sisters. that, as well as also a bonus of Cleone and Atlas, which is the Divine Mother and Father activation, which Cleone and Atlas was the mother and father of the 7 Pleiadian sisters. Then you will also get another bonus, which is, another bonus, which is item number 6, which is the Freedom Potion, which is how to make, and also the calibration MP3 recording. And what this basically is this frees you from restraints and limitations. Okay, this is a particular this is a particular quote unquote potion or mixture. You cannot eat it. All right, so don't try to put it in your mouth. But it is a freedom potion that you basically put on your pulse points, third eye, crown chakra, your particular chakra points, and you can calibrate your whole entire creation of the mixture, or you can calibrate it on your body. So what I mean by that is you listen to the MP3 recording after you apply the potion, or you can listen to the recording as you're making the potion. And it's a very simple mixture. It's not something that it takes a rocket science, so don't worry. You get also a bonus of the Asteroid 13 Ageria Light Language Activation and Sigil. So there is a list of what it all entails in each package. Alara is very thorough in her website, so definitely check it out.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, the 24-hour special is available, which is a 10% gift from me to you. So please do take advantage of that. And the code is TACS10 for each of the packages as well. So, so how far in advance are you booked, Brian, for your sessions?
I am actually booking directly. Well, I have a kind of hectic schedule during the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I have 2 initiations and all that good stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I'll go into that later. But that I can actually book in between
Okay,
events
cool.
and things. So definitely you will get booked.
So we don't have to wait months.
Yeah, you do not have to wait 2, 3, 4 months.
No, thank God.
Max you will probably have to wait is about 7 days.
Okay, that's not bad. Good, thank you. I was like, I don't know if people ask that question, but I always like to know, because it's like, oh my goodness, you know, I've had to wait months, 4 or 5 months once, and it's like, I don't even know what the question was.
And I am up at all hours of the night, so I
Yes.
deal with international clients, so I'm free for people all over the world.
Awesome, good. So again, the packages are available at alara.at/show/Bryan10, BRYAN 10. All right, so we're going to just take a few more quick questions. There's some follow-up questions in the chat. Libra has her hand raised. Libra, what's your question?
Hello, everyone. I have a question, and it's sort of about maybe how I could find the answer out myself, but basically this is what it is. My grandmother, we were very close, and then she called me and she said, there's something I have to tell you, but there are all these people around, I can't tell you. And then she ended up going to the hospital. She was in transition, she died. I've had a lot of dreams since then where she can't speak to me. So when she was in transition, I was speaking, I couldn't get obviously any response, but I was talking to her. But in my dreams, since she died, she's still not speaking, but she seems annoyed or angry or frustrated. I don't know what's going on. I see her walking in my home sometimes, visiting, hanging out with my child, but I don't seem, there's no warmth. Or I don't know, even when I have dreams of her, I feel like maybe that's not her. It's something taking on the form of her. but I'm not really sure what's going on. I don't know if is she annoyed? You know, is
She's
she?
not annoyed. So human emotion, human emotion is really not expressed the same way as it is over here, as it is over there. Okay. Human emotion is very complex and different over there.
Okay.
Now, spirit emotion is a little bit complex, but it goes on a vibration and a current.
Okay.
All right. So what you really have to do, and I'm going to tell you how to get her to show. See if it is not. So, what religion do you go by?
I'm Christian, but I just feel like I'm very just spiritual.
All right. What did
I would
she
say
go
that.
by?
She was definitely religious in the Bible, Christian,
Okay.
sure.
All right. So what you want to do, specifically with a religious lady, and as religiously as you say she was, you want to ask when you see her in your dream, if you can pull yourself back, or if you can basically bring yourself to that, I guess you would say, bring yourself to that particular awareness. If you can ask her, do you come washed in the blood of Jesus? If she says yes, then you know you can trust her. Okay.
Okay.
But if she says no, and then she goes into like a puff of smoke, or she starts to fade, then you know she's going to manifest into something else. Okay. So basically, this is how you can compel a spirit to show its true form. Okay, because because they always say that that, say for instance, a with particular religious dogma such as Christianity, in their belief, they say that demons can't basically deny or lie if you ask them if they've been washed in the blood of Jesus, or washed in the blood of Jesus Christ, or washed in the blood of Jesus of Nazareth, etc., 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 and the many names of God. Okay. But you always want to find, now that's where you always want to find out with when you're doing ancestral work or ancestral healing, if your ancestors were religious.
Yes.
Because if they were religious, that's where you have to start. You have to start at that foundation, because if you don't start at that foundation will basically get you in trouble. All right, because that's where their dogma begins.
Right.
That's where their beliefs start. That's that knot. All right. What you got to do is you got to connect that shoestring. That's what one of my teachers taught me. You got to make sure that you connect both loops. All right.
Okay. Do you think that I mean, I am seeing her around the house. I'm assuming that is really actually her and that she's okay.
Normally, if you are experiencing, say for instance, with your child experiencing it, or your kid experiencing it, normally, since their energy is so innocent and so hasn't been humanly conditioned or humanly tainted, then what happens is they say that a child really has the ability to attract positive more than the negative. Okay. Now, say for instance, if they're in a crying temper tantrum fit, you know, that raw emotion is going to manifest something different. That could be manifested as a tulpa.
Okay.
What Annie heard the word of is not a tulpa, which is a doorway or something that is created. All right. So, but raw emotion can create things. So always remember, discipline that tantrum, but allow that tantrum to happen for a moment, but make sure you discipline it too, because but most definitely your child is most definitely probably seeing your grandmother.
Okay.
I would say almost 90% that she's seeing her grandmother. And with you, I would say that you're probably manifesting a lot of your unconscious fears. A lot of your unconscious fears that your grandmother is mad that maybe you didn't listen, or maybe you're not hearing her correctly, or you're not opening up your ears, or that you maybe think that possibly she's not proud of you, maybe something similar to that. But I really feel as if it's something to do with a manifestation of your unconscious fears. So I would highly recommend a session with me.
Okay.
So I look forward to working with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Libra. All right. So I know that Annie still wants to know what a tulpa is. She's, and what created the doorway, or what is its purpose?
What created the doorway? Well, the doorway could, like I said, it could be manifested by raw emotion. Raw emotion can manifest a doorway. Raw emotion can literally manifest anything. All right. And you just have to know how to manipulate and groove that energy together to create different manifestations of things. All right. So, it's very similar to spell work. You can make, or you can create things very simply by art of manifesting. It's by magnetization. It's by putting out that antenna, or putting out that they call it the dragon eye, or the third eye, and grabbing it up with your eye and seeing it in your space, illuminating it in your space. Okay, so it's really all about illumination and balance.
Awesome. Good. And Joseph was saying he's about the healing modality or spiritual modality. He said it sounds good, but he said, but as I experience, the environment is either ignoring or being not very happy with what I bring in. And he said, not that I consciously know what I bring in. So he doesn't consciously know what he brings in, and he doesn't feel like the environment is supportive of it.
The environment around you may not be supportive of it, but your environment is getting ready to be very supportive of it, due to the simple fact that with all of these past retrograding planets, you're going to see a lot of things start to transform. A lot of the bad, or a lot of the not so good things, or not so bad things. Well, a lot of the more darker aspected things are kind of done, kind of completed. All right, because you got to remember, the retrograding of a planet is the negative aspect or the darker aspect of what or a planet moving forward is. Okay, so with the planets that just moved back direct, with these particular planets moving back direct, they are going to make a whole lot of difference to a lot of people's lives, and even Mother Earth's and the universe's consciousness as well, because everything is connected back up to the stars and the planets. So
Awesome.
look at that. Look at it, y'all.
So things are getting better. Things are going to get better now.
Yes, things are going to start looking up. Things are going to start getting more progressive spiritually. You're going to start seeing a lot more truth. You're going to start seeing a lot more things start to wake up. That is the reason why you're seeing all these spiritual people pop out of the woodwork. All right. You have a tarot reader, a healer, and a newly born psychic popping up on Instagram or Facebook every other week. I have seen the psychic community. We do have our few bad apples, but there are some very talented psychics. There's very talented magical practitioners. There's very talented aware psychiatrists or psychologists. There's a lot of aware people out there, and people just need to realize that we are on a forward walk, not a backwards walk. All right, we are trying to move forward upon this spiritual evolution, or upon the spiritual path of evolution. Okay, so it's basically continue to move forward, but move forward in a way that is true for you. Just like I said before, and if a person wanted rules, they go to church. And I know some of y'all may go to church, but I'm not trying to dish y'all or anything, but that's a lot of the most wonderful prophets and the most wonderful preachers, and they came from preaching on the streets, and they came from a lot of, back then they didn't have churches back then, so it's a lot of things have changed, okay, and allow that change to continue, because that's what we need. We don't need to sit here and continue to allow the energy just to stay stagnant. We need to allow for metamorphosis to take place, and metamorphosis is transformation.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So stay positive. Can't talk now. My voice is going. I just want to say really quickly to Elizabeth, no, the laying Buddha has nothing to do with death. I don't know why you would think that, but it's like, I don't know why you would think that, but it has nothing to do with death. So I'm sure somewhere in this picture there is a laying Buddha. Yeah, there he is right there. Has nothing to do with death, okay? So, I don't know what's in your mind. But no, it's about peace, relaxation. It's about enlightenment. It's sure, death of the ego is always good, but we still need to, we still don't.
We need to ignite that ego.
Yeah,
we need kill it.
we can't kill the ego, because then we wouldn't be able to function here, you know, in this reality. We still need the ego to function.
Exactly.
But
We
it's about-
need that ego.
Yeah, it's about training that ego to be our servant, or, you know, our friend or our resource, not be at the expense of it, or be in control, have it be in control of us, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
we need the ego in balance. Absolutely, Annie. I think Annie wrote that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Wonderful. That was great, Brian. Thank you. I mean, that's what we needed to hear at the end, because I normally ask, do you have any last words of wisdom? Well, that was perfect. You know, that things are getting better and better all the time. But yes, keep working on your shadow self. Working on it means acknowledging it, looking at it, seeing what needs to be healed, cleared, etc. But it's not about the death of it. It's about the acknowledgement of it, and just loving yourself in spite of, you know, some negative things, you know, that we have, right? We're not all perfect. We're all still growing. We're still all evolving, and we still have issues, you know, like I still had some issues coming up from like 30 years ago. It's like, oh shit. So it's like, all right, working on
that awakening of that dark angel.
Yeah, embrace the awakening of that dark angel, because that's going to bring more light to you when you start to embrace it instead of resist it and hide from it and push it down. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. And again, please do take a look at the packages. And he said she bought the package, so she can talk more with you about the tulpa or the doorway, or etc. whatever, right? So awesome.
Perfect.
And the packages again are available at alara.at/show/Bryan10, BRYAN 10. Okay. And I always say this about sessions with Brian: you will not regret it. Okay. So he always over delivers. He always, you know, gives way more than you expect, and way more than he promises in a package. So I'm just saying, so it's definitely worth getting a session with Brian, just if it's, you know, even if it's you want reassurance or confirmation or validation, or it's like, hey, could you just give me some tips on what to do with this? How do I deal with this? You know, how can I, you know, do light language, or how can I do more mediumship, or how can I connect more, you know, more deeply with my ancestors, etc. Whatever it happens to be, Brian can help you. Okay. All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you for having me.
And I know we're still going to be processing for the next 72 hours, so be gentle with yourself. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Until my voice is going. So until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.